So, welcome to our second part in the comparison between Schmincke Academy and Horadam, so the student grade versus the artist grade line from Schmincke. I will put the link for the first part in the description box below, so if you haven't seen that part already, so you can find it super easily in the description box, as well as I will also put a link to the Schmincke Academy old versus new comparison video I've done, where I compare new Academy colors I've bought last year to my 28 years old set. So if there is something you are interested in, you can check it out versus the link in the description box. So the first color we are starting with is magenta, made from PV42. And I always swatch first the Academy versions, and then I will swatch the Horadam versions. And to the magenta version, I have to say, sadly, I don't have the exact color in the Horadam line. So there is the same color in Horadam. I will show you that in the dot card I have, so you can see at least the exact same color here. It is rated with 3 stars from 5, so medium light fastness. It is a quinacridone pigment. As far as I know, all other pigments are very light fast in with the quinacridones, but I know this from other brands as well, that if they use this pigment, it is not so light fast as the other ones. It is a very good choice for a primary red because of its color. It is a very magenta-like color. That's also why they call it magenta. I'm not so I personally, that because it is a pigment I've worked with a lot, and it isn't a color which is included in my old set, so I haven't used it in the past. So I'm not quite sure how what this kind of quinacridone color is called. I know the one I will swatching now as a comparison, because that's the one I have, is a PR 122. It's called quinacridone pink, and it is also a very good choice for a primary red. And when you compare them to each other, I would say that the PR 122 I will swatching in a minute. They call it purple magenta, and this is more on the cooler side of magenta in comparison to the PV 42 version here, which is more more warmer, more on the redder side. So I wasn't very sure about what exact color the one is I am swatching now, because the problem is I got my first set of Schmincke Academy colors when I was around 10 years old. Of course, I didn't know anything about pigments, and I didn't care for any numbers or names. I just unwrapped all the colors and put it in my box and was done with it. I know I to go for a red or blue or something like that, but nothing more. And I've expanded my collection over the years with my own money, and still didn't use any of those. So the only reference I had on these old pens are the internal numbers, and most of them are still the same today. So I looked up and knew, okay, my ultramarine blue is, for example, an ultramarine finest, because I could identify it over the number. The problem is some of the numbers aren't used anymore because some of my colors just are discontinued. For example, I have a green, it's called like an opaque green. I think I've mentioned that in the last video, and I don't have any number on the pen, and also the green isn't in the catalog anymore. So some of the colors I could only identify with their swatch, and I had to look up which of the colors is more the same. So when I swatched this magenta here, I was at the first time when it was really wet, I wasn't sure if it is more one of those brilliant colors, which contains an fluorescent. But I'm 99% sure when I look at the dried swatch that it is the purple magenta. But don't be confused, because while doing the swatches, I constantly checked the color and my dot card to identify which one it is. So just so you know why I will put it in the screen a few times and compare the colors. So yeah, the next color is one I was very surprised, because it's not on the 12 pen set I had, but it is also a color you don't see normally in a student grade set. For example, I don't know any other student grade brands which are using a genuine manganese violet. So if you know another brand, a student grade brand, not an artist grade brand, which are using a manganese violet, then please leave me a comment. I would like to learn about those as well, but I don't know any other ones. So this was a very, very big surprise for me, because manganese pigments aren't cheap. So that is something you normally don't find in a student grade paint. But this one, they call it violet, but it is also labeled with a PEV 16, so it is a genuine manganese violet, and that really surprised me. And the quality is really, really good. It rewets super easily, and you get a beautiful granulation, and also you can get it very pigmented. And that was a second surprise for me, because I love manganese pigments, so I have a lot of them. And the absolute worst version I have to this day is the version I have on my green metallic tin from Paul Rubens. They have a manganese violet in this set, and I don't know. I really love Paul Rubens colors, but this is a total disaster. First, you have to scrub like a mad woman to get any pigment from the color at all. It rewets super, super hard. You get super low amount of pigment, and you have to scrub it over and over again if you want to get a swatch where at least a little bit of color you have in it. I didn't ever get a result like the one I get here with the Schmincke Academy from this one from Paul Rubens. So yeah, it is definitely a beautiful and a good version of it. It rewets super easily. You get a big amount of pigment with only a wet brush. I never rewet my pans normally. So only when I will use difficult pigments like a potter's pink or a genuine viridian, which are rewets not so easily in every brand, because it is how the pigment is. But we don't have it here. And that said, if you want a manganese violet and you don't want to spend a lot of money, and you can get the Schmincke Academy version for a good price, then that is definitely a good choice and definitely a better version than the artist grade version of Paul Rubens, for example. So, but the problem is I've shown you the swatch on the dot card, and I must say it is a very good version. I would say the Horadam version is a little bit more pigmented and a little bit darker, which is not surprising because, like I said, the pigment isn't the cheapest, and it is firstly a very unusual choice. The Horadam violet I swatched just now here is one of the colors I couldn't really identify easily. I would say it is most kindly or yeah more the I think it is some kind of manganese violet, but it doesn't look like the manganese violet you will find on the dot card. So I think probably it is maybe a mixture of manganese violet and something else or so. I'm not quite sure because this was a number I couldn't find anymore. So I probably it is some kind of convenience mix which they discontinued. Like I said, I'm not quite sure. Also, when you look at manganese violets from different brands or over the time, they can vary very much in their hue. You have hues which are more reddish and warmer, and you have versions which are more on the bluer side and cooler. And I know, for example, Crema Pigmente had for a long time an historical rest version of a manganese violet, and this was a very light, more in the on the redder side, more with a high tendency to a magentaish violet. Um, you can't get it anymore. The stock is completely sold out, so it was an historical stock, so that you won't get it anymore. But that said, over the time and depending on where the brands get their pigment from, manganese violet is something which ranges from very red violets to very blue violets. So possible that this is what I have here is a manganese violet as well, but maybe from someone different, some other another pigment supplier they have worked with 30 years ago, something like that. I can't know for sure, but it is from the hue of violet. It is nothing else in the dot card is near anything like this one. The only one which is at least a little bit similar is the manganese violet. So that just was important for me to include so that you know I can't know for sure if it's a manganese violet or not, because the manganese violet today from Schmincke looks different. So that said, next color we have here is indigo. And it is a very beautiful version of indigo. They use the same pigments in the Academy and the Horadam line. They use PB15 column 1, so it's a phthalo blue, and PB66, which is a thin synthetic version of indigo. And that is the reason why I didn't bought Horadam version. I can only show you the swatch in the dot card. I don't have anything similar to it from Schmincke Horadam. So the reason why I didn't bought it is because of the use of PB66, because the synthetic version of indigo is also not light fast like the original indigo, the genuine indigo pigment. And this is the reason why I didn't bought it. When I compare how dark the Academy version can get and the Horadam version can get, I would say they are nearly identical. I think the pigmentation is a little bit higher in the Horadam version because you need less pigment or less color to get this super dark, nearly blackish hue. And you can get that as well in the Academy one, but you need more of the color. So yeah, the pigmentation is a little bit lower in the Academy, but not so much that you can't get a super dark blackish kind of blue. So yeah, I will leave the box next to the indigo empty, just so you know, because all of the other different dark blues out there, it would be, for example, an indanthrene blue, but it is a completely different shade. Also, I don't have the Schmincke version of it, which is called Delft blue, or they also have another PB60 version, which is called dark blue. I don't have either of those, so I can't compare them. And the only other really darker kind of blue is a Prussian blue, and we will swatch this separately because they contain a Prussian blue in the Academy range. So also it would be completely different to the indigo. It just didn't make any sense to say I swatched those next to the indigo. So yeah, that's the reason why I left it empty. But it is a super beautiful indigo, and if you don't need to use a light fast version of this color, because most brands offer some kind of black pigments mixed with the some kind of blue pigments, which are mostly light fast. I wouldn't say all of them are light fast. There are some other non-light fast versions out there as well. Some also use the PB66, but yeah, if you don't use need to use a light fast version, either the Academy or the Horadam versions are very, very beautiful kind of indigos. If you need to be, if your colors need to be light fast, then don't buy any of those, because these two are definitely not light fast at all. Schmincke also labels them, labels both of them with 2 out of 5 stars. So not the bad, the worst light fastness you can get, but too bad if you really need the color to be light fast. So the next color, of course, is an ultramarine blue, and ultramarine blue is a cheap pigment, so you will find it in any of student grade paints, and mostly in the starter sets you always will have an ultramarine blue in the sets. So yeah, that is something you will find in every student grade paints. I was thinking about which would be the best to compare, but funny thing is I don't own every version of ultramarine blue from Schmincke, because they have 3 different versions of an ultramarine blue. The version I choose is the ultramarine finest, which is an ultramarine blue which don't granulate, or yeah, would say is the granulation is probably so subtle that you just can't see it very good. It's really, really, really weak. This is because they milled the ultramarine a lot finer than they normally would. And of course, my pen is really, really old. It's from my old collection from my childhood. So today I probably wouldn't buy the ultramarine finest anymore, because I'm a big granulation fan now. And I love the more granulating versions, like a French ultramarine, which Schmincke also offers, but I don't have it yet from them. And they also offer I don't know why a version which is PB29 ultramarine blue mixed with a PB15, and they call it ultramarine blue. So be aware of that fact. I really don't know why they do such a thing. I think Mijello Mission Gold also offers this totally non-understandable mixture. So be aware, if you want an ultramarine from Schmincke, either buy the ultramarine finest or the French ultramarine, because that are the two versions which are single pigmented, and the one just called ultramarine blue contains the PB15. You don't see it a lot in the color that there is a PB15 in it. It looks more like you would expect an ultramarine to look like. But that said, it isn't a single pigment version. And I think with cheap pigments like an ultramarine, I don't see the reason why you would buy a non single pigment version. And also phthalo blue, which is the pigment is more expensive than the ultramarine, so I really don't understand why they choose to contain it in their ultramarine blue version. So here we have the French ultramarine, and on the right side, this where point on now is the ultramarine with the phthalo blue, and in between is the ultramarine finest I've swatched just now. I would say the hue is a little bit different between those two, but ultramarine has a big variety of shades it can get. If you are more interested in that, I can recommend my ultramarine series, where we will definitely look at all the different shades of ultramarine, but also all the other ultramarine colors, as well as genuine lapis lazuli as well. I would say also maybe the pigmentation is a little bit higher in the Horadam version, because I think on the upper part it is a little bit darker, and I would say the Academy one is a little bit less pigmented, but not super much more. So yeah, it's still a very good version. The next I'm swatching just now is Prussian blue, and this is PB27. It's also a cheaper pigment. That's the reason why this is mostly in all the student brands. You will find it as the dark blue, because there aren't a lot of aren't many dark blue pigments out there. So we have indigo, but we all know how terrible that one is in light fastness, as well as the synthetic version. So today you will always get convenience mixes for that, so you don't have a single pigment version there. Then you have to have Prussian blue, and you have indanthrene blue. But indanthrene blue is a lot more expensive pigment, so you will rarely find that one in cheaper brands or in student grade paints. So that's the reason why they mostly choose the Prussian blue. I personally love Prussian blue. It's a very beautiful blue, but sadly it isn't light fast as well. And that is something I want you personally to be aware of, because it doesn't matter which brand you have. All brands I've ever known and seen rate their Prussian blue as highly light fast. And that is just wrong. And yes, it is wrong in every brand. It doesn't matter, because the pigment itself isn't light fast. And this is the reason why it isn't light fast is because of the iron particles it contains, which is reacting with light. And that's the reason why when you put something you've drawn on the wall, and it gets light on it, that it will fade over time. No matter the brand, it doesn't matter. This pigment always will fade. It has some specialty in comparison to other non-light fast pigments, because if you put your drawing in a closet or in a drawer for a few weeks or a month, then it will recover to some extent, but it will never get the same darkness it had before. So you always have some part which is lost, and you can't recover. The reason why it can recover is also because of the iron part. Yeah, so that is something I want you personally to be aware of. You can see now in the comparison that the hue is a little bit different between those. I would say the left one, the Academy one, is a little bit warmer, and the other one is a little bit cooler, but also more pigmented as well. So you can get the Academy version. I have it on a very small part, on the dried one in the upper left area, which is really, really also super dark, and you can get it dark as well, but you would need a little bit more of the color than you would need with the Horadam version. So if you don't want to use non-light fast pigments, I would recommend to not use Prussian blue. If you need a dark blue, a single pigment dark blue, then I recommend an Indanthrene blue, and which is unusual is that Schmincke offers two different versions of a PB60 Indanthrene blue. The one is called Delft blue, and one version is called dark blue. So these two colors from Schmincke are both an Indanthrene, single pigment Indanthrene, but with a completely different shade of blue. So just so you know. The next color we are swatching here is called Cyan, and it's a PB15 column 3, so it's a green shade phthalo blue. That's your most used phthalo blue. You get this version in any brand. Doesn't matter if it's a student grade or an artist grade brand. You always get this version, because it's the closest you get to a real cyan, to a primary blue. So it is really a perfect mixing blue. For myself personally, I use more ultramarine than I use Prussian blue for mixing, but yeah, ultramarine is my favorite color since my childhood. As far as I can remember, this version of blue is my personal favorite, and it is my most used color, and the color which is gets big dents first, and yeah, in every set I have, it's the most used color. So yeah, that's only for myself. So with phthalo blues, like I said, there are different shades. This is the green shade, the column 3, but you also have versions like column 1 or column 6, and they can look very different from each other. Depending the brand, some offer only one version, some offer various versions. We have here, for example, as their phthalo blue. It's a PB15 column 1. It's similar to a the Academy version. I'm honest, I can't remember which shade is which number. I only remember the 50 column 3, that it is the green shade, because that is the phthalo blue I use most times when I use a phthalo blue. Schmincke has this Phthalo Blue 15 column 1 in the Horadam line, but they also offer different versions as well. They have 15 column 6. It's called Phthalo Sapphire Blue. And if you are interested to see how that one looks, I will put a link in the description box to my review video about the Schmincke Horadam Frau Hölle Sommer set, where I have this kind of Phthalo Blue included. And I must say it goes more in the direction of an ultramarine blue than a classic Phthalo Blue in the shade. So it's very different. And we also have, and that is the one I'm swatching just now, I first thought I swatched the sapphire version. That's the reason why I've wrote it down in the box. But then I've seen that I have a cerulean blue hue from Schmincke, and that is also a 15 column 3, but mixed with a PW4. So it contains a little bit of white, but the content must be very low because they also have a helio cerulean, and that is just PB 15 column 3 without any white. And I don't have this one, but on the dot card I show you just now, they're on the upper left part, and they are next to each other, and they look very, very similar. So yeah, I personally don't know why they have the cerulean blue hue at all, because the white part is so low that it linearly looks like a normal PB15 column 3. So I think this color is really totally redundant. Yeah, can't see the reason for that. I just have the pan of that because it's one of the very old ones I've bought in my childhood. Wouldn't buy it a second time now that I know all of that. So yeah, even with the white in it, I would say it is very close in hue to the cyan from the Academy one, of course. The cyan one is more transparent because it doesn't contain white. Also, I think it gets a little bit darker, to be honest, than the one I have from the Horadam line. But I think when you buy the single pigment 15 column 3, that the Horadam version gets darker than the Academy one. So the color I'm swatching now is, of course, phthalo green PG7, and they call it brilliant green, and it's a classic version of phthalo green. I know a lot of people say they don't like phthalo green because it looks so artificial and they don't use it. And I think it's a highly underrated color, to be honest. I use it a lot because you don't have a lot of single pigment greens. Most greens you can buy are any kind of green mix, convenient mixes. A lot of the greens from the single green pigment greens you can buy are very expensive ones, like True Viridian or all kind of cobalt greens. And of course, some of you won't use any cobalt greens at all because a lot of people don't use any toxic pigments, so that reduces the the possibilities a lot. And phthalo green is a cheap color, so it is normally in every starter set. Doesn't matter if it's artist or student grade paints, even in small sets, normally you will get phthalo green. And I use it, like I said, as a mixing green. It's a super base to mix very natural looking greens. So my personal recommendation is to mix it with browns. I like to use it to mix, damn it, sorry. I like to mix it with burnt sienna or burnt umber, and you will get very beautiful lighter or darker olive greens. Or you can also mix it with some kinds of orange, like a PO48 or a PO71s, to get similar shades. Also with some other orange colors. Also, of course, you can mix it with yellows to get more sap green-like colors, or mix it with a yellow and an orange. Like, for example, the sap green from Daniel Smith, which is my personal sap green favorite. It contains phthalo green with PO48 and a PY 115 nickel azo yellow. So yeah, you can get a lot of very, very beautiful and natural looking greens when you mix a phthalo green with other colors. So like I said, I think it's a highly underrated paint or pigment, and I personally like to use it a lot. If when I look at the Horadam and the Academy version, I think for me it feels like the Horadam version is a little bit cooler, and the Academy one is a little bit warmer. Also, definitely the Horadam version is more pigmented. You can get very, very dark green, blackish green areas when you use a lot of it, and that I was not able to get with the Academy one. So a little bit different in hue, and of course a little bit higher pigmentation, which of course is normal between student grade and artist grade. But I must say, when I look at all the swatches I have done from all the Academy colors, I must say a lot of the colors are super similar to the Horadam version, and I'm really, really positively surprised by how good these colors really are and how pigmented they are. So the next one we have here is May Green, and it's a mixture between our PG7 and a PY 151, which we also have seen in the last video as a cadmium yellow hue. And yeah, it is a very bright green, and I think probably a lot of people don't like this color because it's too bright. But it is a green you can see in nature when you look at freshly grown grass, for example. The tops often are similar to this one, but of course only they stay that bright green only for a short period of time. We have the same color again in the Horadam range, but as you can see immediately, it is a lot more greener than the Academy one. The Academy one is a lot less greenish, probably has more yellow in it, and the Horadam version has more green in it, because I don't know how expensive the PY 151 is, but like I said, phthalo isn't the cheapest pigment, so they probably did use a little bit less of it, and also definitely the Horadam version is just higher pigmented. I guess that they probably stretched it a little bit with fillers in the Academy version. Still, it is a good paint, and you can do a lot of great things with it. And it isn't the filler isn't so high that it gets chalky or nasty to work with. It is still beautiful, and yeah, just a little bit less vibrant and less greenish in comparison to the Horadam version. So yeah, this is the end of this video. We will have one more video in this small series, where we will be swatching the last two green colors, as well as all the earth colors like ochre and browns and earthy red, and also blacks and grays. Yeah, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more colors to go. In total, we will have 24 colors. That is the complete range of the Academy colors. They only offer 24 different colors. I think that is more than enough for people who are just starting with watercolors. Most people recommend between 12 to 24 different colors if you're just starting with painting, because if you have big sets with 50 or so different colors, you don't need to mix colors yourself, and you get a much better understanding if you have less color and learn mixing your own colors. So that's also the reason why Schmincke offers their Academy sets in sets of either 12 pens or 24 pens. They don't have any other sizes I know of. You can buy the colors also single colors in pen form. At least here in Germany, I know I've seen other YouTubers from the US or some other parts of the world where they could get also each color single-handedly. So depending on where you live and how good you are able to get Academy colors at all, you can either buy only sets or each color separately or both. Also, if you're asking about if the colors are available in tubes, there is something really funny about Schmincke Academy and in pens and tubes. And the thing is, I can't buy Academy colors in tubes in Germany. Either I think, damn it, probably because the market here is not high enough to sell them in tubes, because we get the Horadam versions a lot cheaper here in Germany, of course, than in other parts of the world. So maybe that's the reason why. But I know there are tube versions of the colors made for the Chinese market. So I've seen sellers on AliExpress, for example, sell these tube versions of Schmincke Academy there. They also have some kind of super granulating colors. I think it's around 5 different colors, Schmincke Academy super granulation colors there. I don't have any of them, so I can't say anything about the quality, because they are produced especially for the Chinese market and only sold there. So you can only get it from shops like AliExpress, where you can import it from some Chinese sellers. So yeah, just so you know that, and that I don't know how good these versions of Schmincke Academy are in comparison to the German versions. If you have some of the tubes, then I would love to know your experience with, and how you would rate the quality, and if you have, of course, the German pens as well, then I would love to know how they compare to each other, because like I said, I don't own any of those. So I can't say anything about the tube version. Yeah, that was just something I thought was important to include if you are thinking about getting yourself some of the colors. Of course, like I said, depending on where you live, the costs differs strongly. I've seen, for example, Schmincke Horadam tubes on Jackson's for an absurdly high price. So if you find a seller in Germany directly which is shipping to your location, I would recommend to look up the transportation costs, because it could save you a lot of money. Because when I look up the prices I have to pay here in Germany, and compare them, for example, with international sellers like Jackson's, then the difference is enormously. So I've just looked up the prices at the moment of my recording. Of course, that can vary from time to time, but so just you have in comparison, what does Horadam aquarelle or watercolors cost in Germany in comparison for example, I've used now Jackson's online store because I know a lot of you guys ordering there. And if you buy a series 1, so the cheapest price category, a half pan costs on Jackson's $7.39. In comparison, here in Germany, we pay 5 euros. And a 15 milliliter tube would cost in category 1 $14.57, and we pay around 10 euro 60 here in Germany for the same amount. So there's a difference in price there, but even higher the difference in category 4. For a single half pan, you will pay on Jackson's €11.55 for a series 4, and it is €7.99 here in Germany. And in 15 milliliter tube, series 4 cost around $25 on Jackson's, and you will buy 18 euro 28 on the shop I am ordering the most here in Germany. So there's a really big price difference. If you of course only buy one tube or one pan, it doesn't probably be enough for the shipping costs, but and customs. But yeah, if you be able to order a lot of tubes or pans in one haul, then it would be possible to say at least look up shops which are shipping internationally. Best, of course, from Germany, because here we have the cheapest price on Schmincke colors. But I think other European countries still will have a lower price than, for example, the US or Australia or New Zealand, depending where you come from, Canada. Just to be aware of that, yes, the UK is in Europe, but they left the European, we call it EU, so it is something to be aware of, because since the Brexit, the costs for shipping stuff from Germany to the UK has gone up super high, and that's also the reason when you are ordering from shops located in the UK, like Jackson's, that the prices are a lot higher than in other European countries. So that is just something for you international folks to be aware of. Yeah. Okay. So I hope really that this video was as well helpful for you and interesting. I will continue with one more video as I mentioned earlier. Then we have compared all the colors the Academy range has to offer. Um, I will, as I said, link in the description box below the first part as well as the old versus new comparison from my Academy colors. And I hope to see you soon. I would be super grateful if you leave me a follow or a thumbs up because it really helps the channel and me personally as well. I've mentioned it before that I'm chronically sick. Sadly, I can't work anymore, so I only have a small income. And if the channel grows, of course, that will help me personally very much. So I'm very thankful for all the support you are giving me here. And hope you have a wonderful day and to see you soon in one of my other videos. Bye bye.